Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me as always is Ben Slinger.
Hello. Welcome, everybody, to our brand new ASMR version of Bitstorm. This week we'll be whispering game designs in your ears and making mouth noises. No, I'm just kidding.
Definitely not.
No.
Especially because I can actually still see Ben, because we're doing the video thing again.
We're doing the video thing again. We thought that worked out pretty well last week. No, welcome to episode 111 of Bitstorm. We've hit the triple ones. I don't know, that's not a thing. Yeah, I think we're just going to do jump into some click pitch. And
it's actually a massive, massive occasion. It's the last time that we're in a binary way until episode 1000.
That's true. That's true. There's no, we switching over to minimum of base 3 as of next episode. So click pitch. Shall we jump in? How about I let everyone know?
Let everyone know.
So Click Pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we will each click refresh, get a new word, and we will turn those words into magical, wonderful game designs for your listening pleasure.
That sounds awesome.
So, shall we click?
I think we shall.
Let's
3, 2, 1, click.
Vanishing.
Interruption.
I said it too fast for you to interrupt.
Yeah, no.
I vanished your interruption. Okay, vanishing interruption. Is this some sort of... Well, okay, we've done a lot of sort of narrative-based stuff recently. So I'm thinking maybe let's go more mechanic-based. And also just because... So for those who are listening, this episode's coming out just after the Global Game Jam, but we're recording it just a few days before we start the Global Game Jam. And so I thought maybe it would be a good practice for us to actually work on some game mechanics that could potentially be built rather than large sprawling worlds that would take hundreds of artists years to build. Okay.
So I kind of like the idea. We played a game at PAX that had like, I think it was like a 4 or 5 player game in which you had one person looking for other people, and you could basically, if you weren't in the light, you vanished, and then yeah. So I was thinking something around those mechanics of, you're playing a competitive multiplayer game in which you can sort of vanish. I'm picturing it like a top down sort of view. You've got to maybe collect a number of things from other people's sort of area.
Okay.
And you've got limited amount of time in which you can almost do like a Sombra sort of vanishing act. But when you go to pick up something, then you appear again, at least briefly. You appear again and pick it up, and then from then on, all you see is like something moving. Yeah. Like you see yourself carrying something, but the only thing you see is the thing moving. So I think that would be kind of...
Let's start from that then. So the idea of competitive, you've got sort of a base area and you're trying to steal from other people or get certain resources first, while having the ability to completely vanish off the screen. With, of course, the challenge being that this is a single screen game. So while you can't be seen by the other people, you also can't see your own character.
Yes.
And maybe you can do a bit of rumble or something to give you some hints of when you like run into walls or something like that. So you've got a bit of feedback that the other players don't have. But, okay. So that's interesting. Now, where does the interruption come in? Because I was thinking that there could be some interesting mechanics around having to, like an action that takes a little bit of time to perform that the other players can interrupt to really fuck with you.
Yeah. I think that there's maybe like a power-up sort of thing that multiple people have to sort of do. If you remember back in the day, the old Simpsons arcade game where if you were playing in 2-player, you could do like a super move between two people, like if you hit the right button presses at the right time.
And I don't think I don't think I ever actually figured out what those specific buttons were. It was kind of just button mash or like, no, hit attack, no, jump, attack. Do you recall what they were? What were the buttons you had to press?
It's so goddamn long ago. It was probably a combination of jump and attack, and
simultaneously in the timing. And Trevor just made a weird little sort of masturbation. Oh no, it was a joystick.
No, it was a joystick.
Yeah.
Stupid camera.
Okay, so sorry, what are you thinking though because presumably this is, because we're talking about competitive.
Yep. I think, yes, it's competitive, but I think each person, I'm just trying to think of the best way of explaining this.
Well, maybe it's around that, you've got this limited invisibility. Maybe it's around if while you're using that invisibility, you are hit in some way and that power is interrupted, that it affects your ability to use it again for some time, or maybe the next time you go to use it, like only gives you maybe it damages it in some way, so that it's not as effective next time until you pick up a repair kit or something. Like so you're only semi-transparent,
flash or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So I was thinking about a game recently, which this could sort of apply to. Because again, thinking about the game jam and sorts of ideas we could do. Did you ever play the old Spy versus Spy game?
Yes. In fact, if I go just over there, I've got the original NES Spy versus Spy in its box.
Nice. So one of the big things about that game was setting traps, right?
Yes.
If I recall correctly. And I may not, because I literally didn't actually look up how the game played. I was going purely on a 20-year-old memory or longer.
Yes. So basically,
I remember
one character would set a trap and the other person...
Because you were trying to find 3 pieces of something in that game, to build a rocket. No, it's a rocket or something. No, it wasn't just a... Oh, you know what? We might be thinking of a different one. Because I think there were a couple. I think the next one was a bit different than the other one. Oh, I had Arctic Antics. Sorry, I'm just looking at... I actually had Spy vs. Spy 3, which is Arctic Antics. I think they all had pretty much the same sort of mechanics. But it was set in the snow. And you had you'd set traps to decrease each other's body heat, and you had to go into an igloo that had a heater in it to raise that up.
Yep.
But anyway,
in the game that I played, it was basically you're in a mansion and one person's trying to steal. Basically, I think the other person had some data that they've hidden in the room somewhere, but they've set traps and stuff like that, and you can set extra traps around. I like the idea of maybe having a sort of an initial setup that someone goes in and sets up a few things, and then everyone else sort of plays out.
I kind of liked is that to find these resources, similar to the Spy versus Spy, because one of the things with Spy versus Spy that I liked with these traps is that you'd set the traps on things that you both had to use. Yeah. So you had to remember where you'd set the traps. So you'd set them on certain doors, set it on in the one I played, it was certain you could create, you were picking things up in piles of piles of snow. But you could create a pile of snow that had a booby trap in it. And so there was sort of that tension of having to create things without the other person seeing, but you also need to remember where they are. So I kind of like that idea that if we've got this sort of base thing going, you can set up, maybe you have to scan or something to find, the things that you're looking for, the resources that you're looking for. And so maybe you do have to hide your actual resources around, but also, well, I guess you don't have to hide them, but maybe you're going out into the world to find them and you're scanning them, but the scans of the traps will show up the same as the scans of the resources, right?
Cool.
Or something like that.
Another idea that I just had that's just sort of come floating into my mind is basically a top-down game where you're like a cat burglar. Trying to go through and actually steal some paintings, and you just got security guards that are sort of roaming around, and you just see flashlights sort of thing, and all you've got is maybe a little green glow that you're sort of seeing yourself going around trying to steal.
Sam Fisher-esque kind of, yeah.
So then if you're in the middle of of trying to steal something, sometimes you may have to actually interrupt it to go hide and then come back and continue.
Well, actually, along these lines, when I was thinking of the spy versus spy thing, and this could come into the mansion idea, is because it's single screen, and we should try to remember what that game was called that we saw at PAX, because it has obviously inspired us in certain ways, and we want to give them a shout out. But what I was thinking is, in a similar way, not having a way to completely disappear, but that you can hide behind the world or objects in the world. And again, obviously, like, other people on the screen can see if you go behind there. So you have to sort of wait and make sure they're distracted somewhere else, and then just like duck behind a wall. Like maybe maybe the view is sort of slightly lower down, so that if you're behind a wall, like a back wall of a section of the level, then you can't be seen. And again, maybe you can kind of set up traps, but you need to be nearby to trigger them, or you can just like ambush people because you're just like hiding behind that section of the wall. And if they were somewhere else when you did that, they're probably not going to know you're there, and you have to remember, oh shit, I'm in this section of the wall. Like it sort of gives that bit of interesting strategy around a single screen game, but with stealth elements basically, right?
Yeah.
That are really metagaming. They're really metagaming stealth elements, because it's when the people you are playing with, you need to be sure they don't see you. It's nothing to do with the characters in the game.
Yeah. I like it. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah. Let's move on. Fixing.
Buy.
B-U-Y?
B-U-Y.
Okay. All right. Well, again, moving down the sort of game mechanics route. Currencies, buying, these are often quite important things in games.
I'm sort of seeing this as a sort of game where, again, it's sort of a cooperative multiplayer game, but as you play and as you get hit, you actually get damaged, and then you got to make the choice between buying new weapons or fixing the ones that you have. So you've got
I like
a choice
that,
between the two sort of paths.
I like that, but vehicles. I think vehicles are a bit more interesting. Okay. I think it's like a vehicular combat game. Again, I like the idea of multiplayer, same screen, or maybe split screen, depending on the size of the map we want, or the sort of view we want.
The view, yep.
But
I do kind of like a Rocket League view nowadays when I'm racing.
Yeah, well, but I was almost picturing more of a like rock and roll racing kind of vibe, or Micro Machines kind of vibe. But where you've got a garage that you can go back to, and maybe you even get to like fix up your car with pieces that you like, debris and parts that you've found or blown off of the other players. Because I like that idea of, as you damage people, if you're good at also collecting the parts, you can then race back. Now your car's even more powerful. And so you're going to be able to do even more damage, or go faster, or whatever, or have more armor. And so the other players might have to like team up on you to take the sort of a king of the hill kind of, as you, like, the more you succeed, the more powerful you get. And so the other players are going to have to work differently to take you down.
And maybe, each person gets like different sort of, objectives in which, they get paid money by, say, sponsors if they do enough damage to this other player. Like player 1, you do enough damage to player 1.
Well, that could be a bonus. That could be like a bonus thing. Because I like the idea generally of like, okay, everyone starts off, they've got their cars, and maybe you've got to spend some money before the match of like, I'm going to put a bit more money into speed, or I'm going to put a bit more money into the like magnet that you've got for grabbing loose parts that are around you, And I feel like the magnet should be like a single-use fire that then has to recharge.
So it's sort of like maybe on a 6-second recharge.
Yeah, exactly. So you hit the button, it's like, all right, scoop up all those parts, but it's like, oh shit, like I hit it too late and didn't get that great engine. I'm going to have to like defend that engine until my magnet recharges, that sort of thing. And so you could put money into either a shorter recharge or a longer, a larger radius that it works on, or something like that.
I kind of like going down the road that a certain other game did, which was Carmageddon, where, yes, there was a race and you could actually go round and win the race. And, maybe, if you don't watch out, this person that is just racing around could actually get the 3 laps and then end up winning. So you got to sort of try and stop them, but you can also just
take everyone else out.
And you sort of got, like, that freedom to sort of play how you want.
I'm liking this now. I'm liking this. I'm liking the idea. So again, I'm still picturing this as a top-down. I don't know about you, with sort of relatively smallish vehicles comparatively.
Yeah.
But yeah, so your objective ostensibly is to win the race, and you would just figure out the amount of laps on a track like that to make the game last the 4 or 5 minutes or whatever that it would be interesting for, or something like that. Even that might be too long. But you've got your like different pit stop garages, which are maybe at different points around the map. It might not be a traditional race of everyone starts the same spot. It might just be everyone has their own kind of start and end line. But in the end, it's going to be you have to get around the whole track X amount of times.
I really do actually like that. Like having, say, there's your blue pit stop and there's your blue start line and then your red start line. So you're all kind of at opposite ends and different places. And
so it's really
seeing
you could
someone
just
go round. Seeing someone go round, you're not quite sure. You can see in their lap counter how much they've actually gone, but then you've got to really think, okay, they're really close to blue right now. If I turn around now and actually go back, I could actually take this person out and
like all their stuff will be right outside my I like that a lot. So, and then I do like the idea of each player also having some additional, or like even just one additional objective that maybe does get them money. So, I think there's obviously parts, and then you can upgrade parts maybe with money. So initially you all start off with the same thing. You can put some money that you've got at the beginning into different parts. So speed, armor, some sort of attack, your magnet, and then you start the race. If you do a lap, you get money. If you achieve one of your personalized objectives, you get money. If you obviously attack the other players, you get parts that you can then add on. I like the idea that they're always additive. Like, it's not, I'm swapping out for a different engine. It's like, no, now I've got a 2 times engine, right? Now I've got 2 engines.
What I like about the start is maybe there's different objectives that you can choose between. So, I'm seeing it as a split screen sort of thing, that, you get maybe 2 different choices of these are your 2 objectives, and you hit either A or B depending on which one you want.
Okay.
That way,
other people
don't know which one you actually took on.
Yeah.
It's the only time that you actually get to see it, so you got to remember what you
really have to be paying attention to the other people's screens and knowing it could be one or the other, because it could even just be like, get your armor level up to 80% or something, like, 8 or 3 times power or whatever, however you end up measuring this stuff.
Yeah.
Or like do enough damage to a certain person, or even things like do one whole lap backwards or something. Or like going around the opposite direction. Yeah. I really like this. Like, and that loop of one player gathering more stuff up, and getting more and more powerful, and everyone going, oh shit, like we got to take this guy down if we want to not lose, or we've got to just win the race, right? Like, that's part of it now too. Except that as you go past this guy in his fucking tank now with like 4 weapons and 3 engines and all this armor, you are at a pretty high risk of being taken out.
I really love the idea that we don't take from a real world sort of situation. The adding extra engines just increases your top speed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so.
It doesn't,
or your acceleration or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't actually do anything to the weight or anything like that. Like, the weight always stays sort of the same. And
well, I think you get some balance, but not real world balance. It if you get an engine out of someone, it significantly increases your speed. And significantly decreases their speed. I like the idea that maybe... that if they don't have an engine at all, like, they can still move, but it's just pretty slow.
It's basically pedal powered.
Yeah. But so here, I've also been thinking that I really like the idea, because as you said, like, one of the goals could be to just take everyone else out. I think you can lose your car completely and be running around as a person.
Yep.
And there should be
with
a way.
Rocket launcher.
Well, maybe with I think weapons, and maybe it's that I don't know if you have to pick up the weapons or buy them with whatever money you've got. Maybe there's a way to earn money as a lone person without a car. And there should obviously be a way to get a vehicle back, whether it's you have to literally destroy one of the other ones and grab some parts to start building something new.
So I like The power that you've got as a human, though, is that at any time you can teleport back to your pit stop. You basically hit two buttons and you get teleported straight back to your pit stop.
Yeah, I like that.
But so it's a risk versus reward sort of thing. So you can teleport yourself back to your pit stop, and
it's going to be really slow.
Get your new car.
I see. Oh, you get a new car when you get back to the pit stop? Okay.
I think basically you can take then a 5-second or however many second penalty we decide on when you get back there to generate a new car.
Go back to your basic car, yeah, okay.
But also, if you're out there on the road and you take out a few people and you can collect a couple of ideas, collect like an engine or two, and then teleport back, you can build a better car when you get back.
Right, yeah. Okay, I like that.
So it's a risk versus reward, so...
So something I find really interesting there, because I was thinking like one of the things about being able to just use other people's parts is that, okay, you're probably going to have a maximum of 4 engines because you've taken out all other 3 people's cars or whatever. But if you can literally regenerate a new car, there's the potential for more than 4 engines. Do we just keep letting people add them? I feel like we should.
Yeah. In fact, I think that everyone starts with 2 engines.
That probably makes sense, actually.
Because then, you take out an engine and you're still going, and then you take out another engine and you're like pedal power.
Yeah.
And you're basically
I love this idea that, because it would kind of make more sense in some ways to go with some sort of other unit of technology that can be just taken and added to like that. But I love this idea that we're just sticking with, no, it's just more engines. You just throw more engines in there.
or it's tiny little horses. And you say, that's horsepower.
That's your horsepower? No. Well, maybe you get a little, depending on how many engines you've got, you get a number that is, your horsepower goes up. Which would make sense, but...
Yeah. I
like
really
that
like
idea
this.
a lot. I'm trying to think of, because I really still like the idea of this as a top-down game. But I could go with split screen top down in that, it's a fairly large map that couldn't fit all on the screen at once. Mm-hmm. But it's still a fixed camera angle. Because I just feel like that gives you a lot of,
think RC Pro-Am. If you remember that, it was quite close and you could see the things that were coming up, and you maybe have your little map showing where you are on the map. But
again, I'm also sort of thinking Micro Machines-esque, where you were going around a big map and the camera was following. And obviously, in that case, most of the time, the camera was following everyone at once and keeping the camera there. But I'm thinking, you each have your own camera, but it's that sort of top-down view, and you can see sort of a little bit in front of you. Because I love the idea of seeing this fucking tiny little guy on the road who's one of the other players who've lost their car and just swerving to hit him. But then you realize they've dropped a fucking mine or something and they take you out.
Right in front of them.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I want to build that game. That's awesome.
All 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah. Fantasy.
Underestimate.
Okay. Fantasy is so vague.
Oh, I'm so pulling it in a gauntlet direction at the moment.
Gauntlet? Okay.
Did you remember that game Gauntlet?
I do remember the game Gauntlet, yes, basically.
It was like a 2 to 4 player cooperative, 1 to 4 player cooperative, dungeon
crawler, basically, where you'd have a ton of enemies coming out of, because I think they had spawns.
Spawn points, yeah.
Yeah, and you'd upgrade your... Did you even get upgrades in that?
I don't think
you get stronger? I don't think you did. I think it was just you had to keep your health up and you had to...
could get and...
Yeah.
I remember playing lots of different gauntlets over the years.
Yeah, they're
such a cool idea.
It was one of my dad's favourites in the arcade early on. All right, so a gauntlet-esque sort of thing. Where does the underestimate come in? Is there some sort of mechanic around a guess? I like the idea of... Okay, you've got something. Let me go first. I like the idea of, in a kind of Dunning-Kruger-esque way, you have to guess ahead of time how well you're going to do or something, or how many monsters you're going to kill, or how much health you have left. Guess what idea I
was about to come up with.
What?
You have to bid on how many monsters you're going to kill on this level.
Yeah, something along those lines, because the whole thing is people always think they're going to do better than they actually are. And so I like that real risk reward again of, having to make some claim about this upcoming level. And especially when it's a cooperative thing, it then adds that kind of competitive edge to it.
Yeah, but do you know what I like? Every now and again, there'll be a round where someone will get offered, or everyone will get offered, for double points to get a 0 kill round.
Okay. Do the other people know you've been offered it?
Everyone gets offered it.
Oh, okay. But of course you can't get through it without somebody attacking.
Yeah.
I love that idea of just like the start of the round just ends up this game of chicken. With people like running away from monsters and until someone finally breaks down and is like, fuck, like we got to get through this level somehow and starts attacking and everyone else is like, you're our like hero for this one. But then it's like that person starts dying. It's like, shit, as the healer, I need to like kill some monsters to build up my healing energy or something to, to make it so we get through this level. Yeah. Okay. I love that tension. That's really cool.
Just the idea of being able to like bid, and if you underestimate like how many you kill, then that has more consequences than if you go over. But do you know what I like? The idea that however many you sort of bid, you're only going to get that number of monsters -1. So you count up how much everyone's bid. And that's how many monsters there are. So someone's always going to come under the estimate.
Someone's always going to come over and someone's always going to be under.
Well, not always over. You're trying to hit your bid, and that's basically...
No, but I mean, if you kill all the monsters, if you have to kill all the monsters, like basically the bid...
One person at least will be under.
Yeah, but that means someone else has to be over because they've killed...
No, because everyone could match their bid, but I still want one person under. So you could have I bid 20, you bid 20, Irvin bid 20, and some other guy bid 19. He only gets 18 and we all get 20, and because it was the amount of monsters.
I guess what I was thinking is that like the chances of everyone actually hitting their exact bids, and I guess the point is now you just stop killing things.
Yeah.
Which is going to have those same sort of issues as the zero bid.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So you're trying to, that is interesting because you're trying to kill as many monsters as you can until you hit it and then it's none. Then it's like, I'm done.
Because if you end the level on your perfect hit counter,
then you get like additional points or gold or whatever.
For
upgrades.
Upgrading your character. Sort of like at the end of, each level in Crawl, how you could upgrade your character. I like the idea of that sort of happening.
So is this then just a gauntlet style dungeon crawl? Do you think?
Yeah. I think it's sort of like different mazes that you go through that are sort of randomized, and you can sort of go through certain enemies on each level.
A procedurally generated dungeon, but like with the sort of like the curve, the difficulty curve, and the types of monsters you run across, like an Enter the Gungeon sort of thing.
Yeah. So I really like this idea of
that's
traversing
really
through
interesting,
this thing.
just adding that. So what would be the fiction, now that we have focused on mechanics a fair bit, what would be the fiction around why? Like, is this some dark god that's just fucking with them or something? And so they have to...
I think it's a deity that they worship, and they sort of, they pray to them and say, give me the power.
It's the deity of bureaucracy. It's like you have to exactly hit your mark. One under, one over. No, sorry. Smote.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea that over's not as bad as under. Under is like half amount of power, and maybe over is 3/4 power or something like that.
Oh, I thought you were saying that over was worse.
No. Under's definitely worse.
Under's worse, okay.
Because underestimate was our one of our words. That's why. It's the only reason. But,
well, it could be the opposite, though, because you could say, like, underestimate could just be, well, I underestimated how many monsters I was going to kill and kill more, and that's worse. Yeah. Because that would really give the incentive then to stop when you hit your quota.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Then just it multiplies the number of monsters by a fair factor then, so you're always going to have more monsters than what you bid. So then coming in under target isn't quite as bad as underestimating how many you're actually going to kill.
Maybe, something like that.
Because then that does bring in a lot more about the not killing other things. Yeah, I like that.
I also like the idea of the different roles, because that will really change how many they estimate for. Like there is a healer role. It's like, well, I'm going to kill like 7. But someone else has hit their quota and the monsters are still coming, and the guy's like, "Oh, are you kidding me? No, you have to kill him. You're the fighter." He's like, "No, I've hit my quota. Like, I'm not taking that hit." It's like, "Ah, shit." And he's just like stabbing them with a little dagger or something.
I'm not
constantly healing himself.
It's going to take me 23 hits to kill this one monster. And
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
13 of them.
And the other guy's like, "Well, fucking run then." Yeah, that's really cool. All right, 3, 2,
I
1,
like that a lot.
Ooh, I think this actually was close to, or was I can't remember now, a Global Game Jam word. Infection.
Macintosh.
Okay. So you run an apple orchard where you grow laptops. Got you twice. Although I do kind of like that idea of it's set in the future and you run an apple orchard, but it's like an orchard of Apple products.
How are the iPod trees going today? Well,
Yeah.
they need a little bit more electrical watering.
Yeah,
What do you water them with?
they haven't quite grown up to their 64 gig hard drive yet. Like they're at about, averaging about 55. So we got to give them a bit more time. They're not ripe yet.
Yeah, I picked this one. It was a little underripe. It's only a 16 gig variety and there's no OS.
Ah, shit. We got another batch of iPod shuffles. No, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Having to manage, like having to deal with the infection, like the viruses then that spread through your orchard, having to spray for infection, having to provide the right amount of different resources to grow these things. It's kind of cool.
It's not really pinging me the way that the last couple did.
It's not grabbing you though.
Nah.
All right, should we click over?
Yeah, I reckon we do.
Click over? That's not what we say.
3, 2, 1, click. Over.
Funeral.
Toggle. It's better than one of my previous words. Subscription.
The funeral subscription. Funerals weekly. You get a free part. It's like when you buy a zoo subscription. You get into all the zoos for free. It's a funeral subscription, and you can go to any funeral without having to pay. Mm-hmm. Funeral. What did you say?
Toggle.
So, oh no, that's a woggle. I was thinking of the Scouts. The little thing that they keep their tie thing on. I thought it was called a toggle, but it's called a woggle, which is way worse. So toggle. Okay, so to turn something, switch something between two independent states, or you do use a toggle is often used as to close a bag or to the little toggle. You think?
I like toggling between different states.
All right.
Now, using that within a funeral.
All right. Shall we go back to looking at the mechanics of a game?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the narrative of a game like that, I was going to go down the way of and maybe we could still use this from a mechanical point of view, but somehow the way this person's died means they something happens and they come back to life if a switch toggles something. But from a mechanical point of view, I kind of something around two players or two characters who only one of them can be alive at any time. Ooh. Or conscious or something, or moving, and maybe you can change up the connections, as in you're not always connected to the same other player. So I'm trying to think of how that could play out. You could even just do it in a sort of competitive twin stick sort of way.
Yep.
Where, I'm thinking, all right, just to break it down to its base parts, and maybe we'll move it away from this. 4-player team-based twin stick shooter where, so there's 2 teams.
Yep.
Maybe one of you starts dead, or maybe the first person to get hit dies. But then when the other person dies, that person comes back to life. And that kind of goes back and forth. I don't know what the win state is then.
Yeah, I sort of was almost thinking more of a puzzle platforming sort of game in which it's sort of split screen. You got one character at the top, one character down the bottom, but only one can be controlled at a time. And you have to sort of, to solve the puzzles, maybe there's a weight switch that, someone has to be on. You kill yourself, you you transfer the consciousness to the other one, you can control that a little bit longer. And it's all about working out, okay, how many times do I need to sort of switch between to be able to actually pass this?
Okay, let's go with that idea.
Level.
Because I like the idea that you have to also, with these puzzles, figure out a way to move the dead body of your companion throughout their part of the level. Or like, because you realize that it's like, okay, I'm controlling this person. My companion is dead up above. I can go and do this bit and hit this switch, and it's going to open the next area, but it's going to close the door up there, which means the companion can't get through. Mm-hmm. So I actually need to also hit this other switch, which like a hook moves and like picks them up by the, coat collar, shirt collar, like drags them through or something, or like fires off a conveyor belt or whatever. Like there's always going to be some way that within this puzzle scenario, the just floppy corpse of the other character will manage to get into the next area as well.
I kind of don't even want this as a cooperative multiplayer game anymore. I want this as like a single player puzzle.
Oh, yeah. So I think I was kind of thinking of this as a single player now. Yeah, with that mechanic, definitely. Like, and sometimes it might involve multiple deaths, right? It's like, okay, well, if I get to this point and then kill myself, then I'm going to like fall down this hole and slide out this tube over here, while the other character has gotten up now and is in control and can like hit some other switches.
Okay, what I like about this is the image that I'm getting for a narrative sense is the character that you play is called the Puppeteer.
Okay.
And he can sort of take control of two souls at a time, or two dead bodies at a time. And so at first you only get these two dead bodies that are within the morgue, so you can control this one and get this one to sort of open the door, and then control the other one and get him down the corridor a little bit further, and playing around with these two characters. But then later on, like as you're killing guards and that sort of stuff, maybe you can switch
you can switch to them as well. So
switch to them instead, or you've chosen, okay, this one I get to bite this guard, and now I no longer have control of this one until...
Well, actually, yeah. I think it's not that there's a limit of two. It's just this character can take control of any one dead body at a time, right? So at the beginning, I know it's a small morgue. There are only two dead bodies, but and you go through a bunch of puzzles with just those two, and you're just able to switch back and forth at any time. But like, there are always going to be interesting puzzles where it's like, well, I can't switch out of this person right now because they're like literally, they're like hanging or something, right? They're hanging from a bar and they're just going to drop. But then later on, you get things where it's like, okay, if I kill this guard first, or like pump fucking poisonous gas into this room so the guard's dead, then I can switch into that body and hit the switch to open the door or whatever, right? Like you start getting those sorts of puzzles too.
But then the puzzles really, really open up when you realize, oh, there's a rat there. Kill the rat, and now you can become the rat and, sneak in behind this wall and bite through like the wires to basically open up this door for other people to sort of get out.
I'm actually starting to think of this as like an inside kind of puzzle game now.
But
you are...
I still like the idea of a split screen.
Well, again, I think that could just be in the puzzles. Like, I think most of the time, but I don't think it's actually literally a split screen. I think it's just a lot of the time, the levels are divided up in a way that there's sort of two separate areas that these characters are going through, these dead bodies are going through. And I like, because I also like that sometimes maybe you don't always have two, in that maybe you get to a point. And you could even start getting to know, like, these characters could start having personality. Maybe when you're controlling them, they're talking. Like, they're alive again. They're not just shambling corpses. It's like, these people are they just keep finding themselves alive again and unable to control their bodies. Because that could create some really funny situations. Even just there, like, with them talking, going, what's going on? But then what I was getting at is you could have a moment where you have no choice but to leave one of them behind.
Oh, that'd be a hard choice.
Like, leave them dead and take control of the other one, because only one's going to be able to fit through here, or only one's going to be able to, move on.
Only one has the ID card that you need to get through the thing. So you have to choose who's going to get the ID card.
And maybe they have to literally maybe you literally have to sacrifice one in some way. I mean, they're dying all the time, but I guess I was thinking like
a la a companion cube getting thrown into an incinerator.
Something like that. Like, yeah, sacrifice in a permanent way, to let the other one go. Yeah, that could be cool. That could be cool, really, having that relationship then with these fucking, like, you're a spirit that's possessing them or something, or you're a whatever, yeah.
I like the idea that as you go on, you can maybe collect, like, a medallion that gives you, like, a third sort of body that you can take over at a time. And then it becomes sort of like the Lost Vikings in that sometimes you may have to actually set this person up to sort of slump over so that you can sort of climb up this person and get up a little bit higher and set up different puzzles throughout.
I do like that idea of some sort of physical, like a medallion or something that then lets that person for a limited time, maybe it's got a charge in it that slowly depletes.
Lets them stand up and help boost someone up.
Or like lets them be alive for that much longer, until they just slump down again. And so, you can have a bit of teamwork happening, but you have to be quick about it. Like, you have to have set it up in a certain way or whatever. And I like the funny stuff that could happen with the person starting to realize what this medallion means. It's like, shit, I've got the medallion on again. Oh no, okay, and like their voice just starts, all right, I've got you up there.
Oh shit, I'm dying.
Yeah, like, okay, I'm going to lift you up. I'll go, like, they just start spouting nonsense and
slurring their words.
Yeah, they just tumble over.
Okay, that's really creepy and 3 to 1 click.
Yeah.
Rising.
Small.
Small rising.
Small rising. Okay, my first thought, and this is often how we do this, right, is like just a random weird image pops into my head and I try to decipher it.
Mm-hmm.
My first thought was a tilt-shifted view. Do you know what I mean by that? Like that way of using a camera that makes everything look like they're tiny little dolls.
Oh, yep.
It's called tilt-shifting just because of the actual way that works, but generally it ends up like a short depth of field, but it's actually a real thing. It often, of a tilt-shifted view of a rocket taking off. And so my thought was that this is like the space race of something really small. Because I kind of just love the idea of a fucking rocket launch from someone's backyard, like this tiny rocket. That to the people down there, it's this awe-inspiring thing. And to someone our size watching, it's just like, doo. Like, it's just this tiny thing, just like, it's like a fucking dragonfly taking off or something. Like, it's just, I don't know. That was my idea. So, I guess there could be an element of like Kerbal, like it could be like building rockets out of everyday materials as a tiny person, and having to like different things having different effects, like soda, the Coke bottles to blast things off or dropping them into.
Now I'm just picturing like it's either ants. Because I like the idea of like this post-apocalyptic sort of war zone, or it's literally like the characters from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, that they're like really, really tiny on the desk of like Wayne Stilinski or whatever his name was, having to like build together like this rocket to sort of,
well, that's kind of the vibe I was getting at almost, like the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of thing of, just the idea of something as big as a rocket launching, but in that really sort of small scale compared to everything else. I'm not sure where the gameplay comes in, and this is the problem with going off literally just a vision in my head. Is it like, is it building these rockets? Is it something narrative where that's the kind of end goal, or just a plot point? Are we doing a whole Honey, I Shrunk the Kids video game?
As much as I did like that film, I think that may be a bit hard to like build those many environments.
Well, yes, for us to actually do it, but I'm pretty sure there was a game, right? Like on Super Nintendo or something.
They did lots of dodgy licensing.
Oh god, then. I know. 3 to 1 click.
I got nothing. 3 to 1 click. Water.
Swim. All right. We haven't done a swimming game before, I don't think. Not where that's the main goal. We did one where there was a bear in a swimming pool, but Swimming in water. How novel.
Okay.
Now, what can we do? Yeah, how can we create an interesting game around swimming?
So I'm just getting this picture of like this sort of water world.
A world of water?
A world of water. And basically you've just arrived there in like this, I don't know, a life pod or something like that. And, you gotta like swim down into the ocean and like collect resources to like build shit.
I thought you were literally going Kevin Costner Waterworld.
No.
That was more interesting to me. Yeah. Well, that game's been done. That's fine. But I'm sitting there going, I don't think Kevin Costner came down in a life pod. What are you talking about? No, again, let's get mechanical with it. Yep. Swimming. And whenever we talk about, I don't know why we go to like, and maybe it's just because we like to play them a lot, single screen competitive or co-op types of things when we think of mechanics around like just going mechanical with this stuff. But I don't know. I feel like something there. It's almost it's giving me nostalgia around some of the single player PC sort of games. I feel like there's a water polo game or something. I don't know that it's actually a thing that ever happened, but I feel like you could make a water polo game or like water volleyball or something. Is that the thing?
Water polo is basically
it's like volleyball, isn't it?
It's over. Not quite.
Isn't it over?
Sort of like,
no, that's more like the
water soccer.
Yeah,
water soccer.
Sometimes isn't there that they play volleyball in water sometimes?
I don't know. I never have. So I'm just wondering because a lot of the stuff about water polo is trying to stay afloat because it's a really, really deep pool. Basically, they do it in like a diving pool. Yeah. And so you have to pretty much do like almost like egg beater kicking, sort of to try and keep yourself up in the water.
Right, I guess where I'm going is, can we come up with a new sport that is based in the water that would work well as a video game?
For some reason, I'm seeing like this, almost, if you remember in, say, what game was it? Like, almost like your Monkey Island and a few other things like that where, you could maybe swim down deep into water to try and find treasure.
Yeah.
The idea being that, okay, it could be either a split screen multiplayer or it could be something like that. And each person's got like a boat and they're sort of going around based off a map piece that they have that are trying to find, okay, I found a map piece for this piece of treasure, swim down, it then splits.
You've sort of got like an almost an arcadey side on
swimming down, beating all these different areas, like different like sharks and shit.
Yeah.
Just trying to get down, trying to find as much treasure as you can. And then,
you've got a certain amount of oxygen, you've got a
certain amount of oxygen. Yeah. And then basically at the end of the 3-minute round or whatever, it's whoever found the most treasure. But also like you can, I'm picturing just being able to hijack someone's boat and move it a little bit further so that they can't find it when they come back up, or
notice that they've done a dive and go and dive right next to them, and then you can like attack them or something. Okay, that's interesting. Let's explore that a little bit more. So you're thinking kind of a top-down map initially, where there's like boats going around on a lake or on the ocean.
Yeah,
like sort of above view.
Yeah, and then.
Is it split screen at that point, or is it like a far off God view kind of thing of the whole? Because I like the idea of having to semi-map out where the good spots are, or like that you've got ways to find, okay, there's probably going to be... Well, I guess you're saying you find a piece of the map or whatever, so you've got some map idea from the map where stuff might be.
Yeah, I think there's lots of barrels sort of around the ocean.
Okay.
Or even bottles or something like that. And inside each of these bottles are like, maybe locations of
shipwrecks or something.
Shipwrecks, islands, other sort of things, so that occasionally you may be able to get in close to an island and sort of swim ashore and then do something there and then head back out again.
I guess I'm thinking, how big is this body of water that you are together with these other players, boating around on? Maybe it's like the Bermuda Triangle, maybe you found your way to the Bermuda Triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's just all these shipwrecks everywhere. And it's been isolated, from society for a long time. So there are some survivors, and maybe they're on islands, or maybe it's just that they've left these maps and stuff. But it is then this fairly limited body, like space of water.
Yeah.
So that you do kind of start to learn the landmarks and where other people might be, or whether you can just see on the, again, if this is like split screen or single screen.
I'm picturing that it's got to be split screen just from the fact that each person should get an individual sort of view as they're trying to swim down. Like,
yeah. I think when they were trying, definitely when they're trying to swim down. I guess I was thinking maybe it's like top view map where you can see the entire area initially, and you've sort of just got your little boats like skimming around this space. But then when someone dives,
as soon as someone dives,
it gives them a split screen, and then the other map is like focused on it.
You look at your split screen and go, oh wow, I don't even quite know where I was on the map, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it. Like you can't necessarily see the whole map then, or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. There's definitely some cool ideas. I like that idea of a side-on swimming down kind of gameplay loop. Maybe as you go along, you can get deeper in places or something, or go down into deeper chasms. Again, maybe this is kind of like one of the earlier games, you buying equipment or something. As you get more treasure, you can then buy more equipment, which lets you go deeper, and this sort of thing. Or faster boat, or more weapons.
I kind of like the idea that the map pieces are actually down the bottom when you swim.
Okay. So you start with one?
No. So as you're going around, you basically got almost like a sonar on your boat that they can detect when there's a wreckage below you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But you're looking for like the big haul.
You're looking for the big haul. If you find a map piece, and I think this could actually be over a number of rounds. Mm-hmm. Say there's a map piece in every round that you do.
Right.
And you have
one map piece. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And if, everyone gets a map piece, then they have to sort of work together in the final round to work out which island out of all these islands they need to actually go to. Yeah. And then once they work that out, it's a race.
It's a race to get there. Okay. Yeah, okay. I like that, because then all of your upgrades from across the previous rounds are going to come into play. So, early on, you're like, okay, well, it's going to be better off for me now to give myself a more powerful harpoon gun to take out sharks and things I see on the way down. But maybe I should start upgrading my boat speed now, because in that final round, it might pay off to get there faster,
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. Yeah, okay. I like that.
Or it may pay off to have a bit more cannon power just so that you can take them out.
Yeah, you can surprise them and just fire off a fucking torpedo or something. Yeah, that's cool. I really like that kind of that build up over multiple rounds. Again, similar to Crawl in that you sort of play a level and then everyone gets to upgrade with whatever they found from that level, and then it's like, all right, and now on to the next level, but only one winner.
So I kind of like the idea that they're working for the same company. They're all different employees for the same company. And so the company's all about,
incentivizing
to incentivize you a little bit more. We've hired 3 other people or one other person, 2 other people, 3 other people, depending on how many people you actually have. And it's basically, okay, yep, you got to go through and sort of do this. You've only got a certain amount of time on each round to sort of find your bits and pieces.
Yeah.
If you don't find a map piece, well,
that one's just missing.
Well, then you don't get the final bonus round. Basically.
Oh, I think you should get the final bonus round, but that piece is missing. So
no. If you don't find a piece at all, you don't get the final bonus round. If you get one piece, then that may actually,
it might
determine,
be enough.
Okay, this is sort of where the island is. You only get one chance to land on an island.
Yeah.
And this is the island that you choose, and, you can sort of see, okay, there's 5 islands over in this quadrant over here, and this sort of looks like it's really, really quite close up. I can see that the island in the middle, and then there's one slightly northeast and one slightly, southwest sort of.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea that it comes down to the shape of it as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, we got one piece of the map. Now it could be, yeah, it could be the northeast side of this island, but it also kind of looks like the west side of this other island. But this is like, we've just got this single coastline to go off. And maybe everyone just goes off to whichever island they think it might be and has the opportunity to dig or whatever. Like maybe it's actually that the final one's always on an island and you have to, so if you've got the whole map, it's literally, okay, here's a map of this island and here's the X that marks the spot. Yeah.
But you may only get like, okay, so you enter here, then I don't know where the hell you go.
Yeah, you might get, you've got 2 out of 5 map pieces, so it's like, okay, well, it's almost certainly this coastline, and there is a path heading in this direction, but yeah, you don't know where on the rest of the
island it is.
The island it's going to be. That's cool.
And so you're pretty much almost guaranteed to not get that.
Yeah, or you've just got a time limit, or it's the first person, like, you just give them a bunch of time, and maybe someone will randomly get it by digging the whole island up.
But yeah, there's a couple of cool ideas there.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Right, cool. I reckon we've got time for one more.
Oh, yeah, I guess we're cutting a couple. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
3,
3, 2, 1, click. Explosion.
Club.
Club? C-L-U-B?
Yep.
Explosion Club. Okay.
So what I'm picturing, and just to take it away from the idea of it being a club that people can join, it's literally a club that your character has picked up.
Swing.
That as you swing, you're causing explosions into these, like, basically every melee attack that you make, you're creating these massive explosions.
Oh my god.
Or you're building up to like an explosion. So it's like, if you get the combo perfectly, then the final attack is like a big explosion.
Oh, it's like a grenade hit or something.
Yeah.
So the idea being that, like, it's maybe like what sort of fighter? Like, are you thinking it's a Double Dragon-esque?
Yeah, Double Dragon.
Like
I'm picturing like the
God of War-ish.
Yeah, the 2.5D side-scrolling beat 'em up, but with sort of maybe some Devil May Cry ideals behind it. You know that you've got like 2 different ways of going down the attack path. So you've got different enemies that may react well to, or maybe very vulnerable to the club, but some other ones that are sort of targeted range that you got to use, like I don't know, gunplay or whatever. I like the idea that
maybe you've got like a crossbow or something. But okay, I like that though, because if you do it right, you can use your combo to use that final explosion to also take out the things that otherwise you would have had to use ranged attacks.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, oh shit, I've got 3 pterodactyls and a stegosaurus. For some reason you're finding dinosaurs. I don't know. And so you're just like, all right, club the stegosaurus, whack, clubbing the stegosaurus to death. Oh, now I'm getting sad. But it's like, all right, pulled off the combo totally. And it comes down to what your final attack is, right? So it's like, all right, I'm going to do an uppercut with it. Like, I'm going to swing it upwards. And that means that final explosion not only blows the head off the stegosaurus, but all of its, like, back plates go flying up into the air and impale the stegosaurus. Well, actually, maybe that's it. Maybe instead of an explosion emanating from the club, it explodes whatever it hits.
Yep.
So you do have things like porcupines, stegosauruses. I'm trying to think of anything that's got like something damaging that will fly out of it.
Yeah, but you can just have these as enemy versions, like But it's basically like these aliens that have come down that are like these porcupine-ish aliens that have like spikes all over their back. You can knock them down to the ground and then uppercut them as the final attack, and the spines just explode out vertically. And
yeah, exactly. Just that the different alien warriors or whatever have different armor that all have different effects when you
different
when you finally and just different final effects when you explode them with a combo. It's like someone with a really thick helmet or something that just fires off this massive projectile in a single direction that'll do a lot of damage, someone with spikes all over them obviously is in an area of attack. I do like that idea of at the end of a combo means that the enemy you're attacking becomes a weapon.
I'm just wondering whether the animations that you'd have to actually create for this thing would just be a little bit, like, over the top for a game jam.
Oh, I'm not thinking of this for a game jam. No.
That's how we started that day. Like, I was thinking everything in the way of game jam.
Oh, really? No, I was just thinking that, like, we'd think more of game mechanics to warm up, but, yeah. But you could do this with a game jam. You just have to keep it fairly basic.
Explosion Club.
Yeah, it wouldn't have the same impact, but. All right. I think we'll leave it there.
Yep.
Now, our next episode might be a retrospective on the game jam this weekend or last weekend. We'll be listening to this.
I think that'll be a special again. I think we did that last time.
So that's what I mean. We'll make it a special episode in between, but that might be the next you hear of us if we get our finger out and record it
and
after
record it. Yep.
This releases. And if you want to find us online, we are on Podchaser at podchaser.com/bitstorm. That's mostly the best place to find all our stuff. We have some YouTube videos coming out soon, so check those out on our YouTube channel, which again you can find on that Podchaser page. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, but we never post there. And send us an email. Don't do that. Send us a Facebook message.
Yeah, Facebook messages are definitely the best way to get us, or just Twitter. Yeah. I'm always on Twitter. Okay, so I'd like to plug our friends at the AGPN, the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. They're just a group of Australasian podcasts, so Australian and New Zealand gaming podcasts. Just an informal network, everyone like helping each other out, and it's a really cool network to be part of. So go check them out on, search for hashtag AGPN or look at AGP Network on Twitter and the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook. And finally, we'd like to thank Kuradust for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
That's it. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I need more horsepower.